Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the WrestleDude YouTube channel, and welcome back to another casual movie review. This time for Scream 5, or is it just called Scream 2022? And this is going to be an interesting one because normally with these casual review videos, as you may know if you've watched a bunch of them, usually I only really cover movies that I will pretty much always end up liking. Like the majority of them obviously are like superhero movies and stuff like that. I've dipped my toes into like other types of movies. I think the first one that I did for Willy's Wonderland might have been maybe the only non like well, no, I also did Mortal Kombat, although some people might see that as horror adjacent. I don't know. But um long story short with this, I originally uh, wasn't really planning on going to see this, but my brother wanted to, and obviously I had to drive him, and he figured I would want to go see it too. In the end of the day, I just said, yeah, sure, why the hell not? So we both went, and I'll be honest, I don't, I didn't care about it. Not one bit. I think, and let me give you some backstory to this. When I first heard that they were doing a new Scream movie, my first instinct was just asking, why? Like, what is the point? Like, I, I mean, Scream 4 was good, but honestly, I didn't even see the point with that when obviously Scream 3 ended and pretty much kind of tied everything up in a nice bow. Sydney kind of had peace of mind at the end of that movie. She could keep her back door open and nothing bad would happen, that kind of thing. And then we got Scream 4, and obviously, like I said, that was very good. But honestly, with where the story ended in Scream 3, I didn't think we really needed it. Um, the killer and motive and stuff like that in Scream 4, while still good, um, don't necessarily think it was necessary. And this one, 100% was not necessary. I have no clue why they decided to make this movie. Like, and no offense to everybody that's a really big Scream fan, but I just did not see the point. This whole story starts off with us following like Billy Loomis's daughter, who we find out in like a mirror reflection thing. Which, interestingly enough, this was kind of my first point. Was out of either killer to bring back from or any killer to bring back from any of the sequels, the one that I never thought they would bring back is one that is confirmed dead. I thought Stu was a shoe-in to be in this. Even if it was a small cameo, even if it was just from like a paper clipping from like a newspaper or something like that, an article online, a name mention or anything like that. But from the very beginning, they just talk about Billy and his accomplice, Billy and his friend. And I thought that was red herrings. I thought it was like, nobody's really mentioning Stu, nobody's taking Stu seriously, and no one's really giving him his credit for what he did with the crimes from the first one. I thought this was all red herrings leading up to the big reveal at the end that Stu was one of the killers. Maybe he was going to have like the burnt up face and stuff like that from having the TV smashed on him. But no, it's just I'm just gonna call him Huey. He plays Huey from The Boys. I don't remember his character name in this. But yeah, it was Huey, and I'm just gonna call her Pyro Girl because she ends up getting set on fire in this movie at the end, and also she gets set on fire. Her character does in the movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Two different movies, both characters end up performing fire stunts resulting in their death. So I'm just going to call her Pyro Girl and Huey as the two killers for this movie. And like I said, most of the story is kind of like following Billy Loomis's daughter after her younger sister is attacked. I guess half sister, I should say. But yeah, it's mostly following that. And I'll just be honest, like, I feel like kind of there was a little bit too much like the thing that was annoying me the most throughout the movie was when there were groups of characters talking to each other and they just like look at each other and say outright like maybe you're the killer. Like every time someone said that, it kind of just made me like roll my eyes like at the end of the day, this isn't how realistic people would talk in this situation. If they feel like there's a killer among them, they're not just going to call out their friend or their ally or whatever for being a killer or anything like that. They're going to give them some sussy looks, but they're not just going to outright say, like, what if it's you? You know, like, I feel like that was, it went a little bit too far for me, like, over and over and over again. And there was a lot of points where, like, and this is actually a critique that a lot of people have with a lot of the Marvel movies, is that there were a lot of tense moments that were either completely cut at the legs for me because of a cheesy one liner or a joke that like just didn't really fit because like this movie compared to some of the other ones, this movie takes itself very very seriously. There's a lot of really serious stuff going on in this movie, much like Scream 4, um which makes it that much more jarring when like something serious happens or when there's like a serious death or something like that. Like towards the end there was a lot of these moments where somebody's close to dying or they're about to kill somebody and then all of a sudden they like spout off a one liner or something like that and then like they do the action. Like that made me roll my eyes, and for some people they might like that, they might like the cheesiness, but for me personally this one kind of jumped the shark to me. um but let's talk about sort of the legacy characters from the original movies. We got Huey, or not Huey. Huey's. We got Dewey. We got Huey, Dewey. Now all we need is Screwy. But no, we got Dewey back. We got fucking Sydney. I don't know why I couldn't remember her fucking name. And we have Gail. And we also got fucking what's her name from Scream 4? Lemon Squares chick. We got her back as like a nice little side character and a side character that gets killed off. We also got some nice cameos from, like I said, Billy Loomis and sort of like these mirror reflections and stuff like that, which honestly they looked pretty good. I don't know if it was just like some de-aging done. I haven't seen any more recent photos of that actor that played Billy, so I don't know how young he looks. So maybe they did some de-aging or something like that. But I thought it looked good. Like I said, just out of all the past killers to bring back, I didn't think they would bring back one of the ones that was confirmed dead. So that was very surprising to see. Um, I was honestly expecting Billy's daughter to be revealed as the killer, like towards the end, or at least one of the killers towards the end. I thought it was gonna be a thing where like she's taking these pills, and maybe something like one of the side effects of the pills is like she has memory loss and something like that, and like she can't remember like killing these people, and it's like this side of her brain connected to Billy or whatever. Like honestly, I'm kind of glad they didn't go down that route because I feel like that might be leaning more towards like Scream 3 sort of stuff. And if you remember Scream 3, there was some stuff in that that people really fucking hated. Um, but let's talk about maybe a couple of things that I actually did really like in this movie. And there's very few of them, but even the things that I did like, they mean a lot. One that I will point out first of all, and one that my brother was hoping for, was that they play the song "Red Right Hand." I'm fairly certain it's in pretty much all the other Scream movies. I'm fairly certain, and he was hoping that it played, and it obviously did. Um, what else was there? There was a cameo. I was not expecting this. There is a cameo by the YouTube channel Dead Meat where they are covering one of the like in-universe Scream like stab movies, and they're doing a review of it. I was not expecting that. When they popped up on screen, like that was the first moment of the movie where like my eyes like lit up with excitement. Like not even for any of the legacy characters, except for maybe Sydney, because she looks fucking hot. Okay. But yeah, yeah, seeing Dead Meat cameo in this was pretty awesome. And then this was a fact that got pointed out to me by my brother after we left the movie, was apparently on that moment where it's showing like the YouTube screenshot of the Dead Meat review of Stab 8, I think it was, and how they're talking about how shit it was. Apparently, off to the side, there's an Easter egg talking about one of the survivors from Scream 4. What's her name? The one that everybody. Hayden Panettiere, her character. Everybody was hoping that she survived. Apparently, there's an interview with her saying that she survived, so hey, that's awesome to hear. But yeah, there was that. There was the nice tribute to Wes Craven and Wes's death with the prosthetic on the neck. I thought looked really cool. There was a lot of really great effects done in the movie. Other than that, I mean, there was a lot of really great callbacks and stuff like that. There's a moment towards the end of the movie where they're like back in the same house from the original one. What's his face? His like niece or something like that is like sitting on the couch exactly. I'm sorry, I think his name is Randy. Um, the I you can tell I don't really have a strong connection to these movies. Randy, his niece, is like sitting on the couch exactly where he was watching the movie Stabbed, watching the same moment, stuff like that. There's nice callbacks to that. Nice callback just having the house there in general, and a lot of great callbacks like musical cues and stuff like that. Um, if you'll notice throughout this review, I've barely talked about any of the legacy characters, which, to be honest, aside from Dewey, like the legacy characters really don't do much. Like you could cut out. I mean, obviously towards the end, like Sydney and Gale, like definitely get involved, like helping take down the killers after they're revealed. But you know, it just kind of feels like they didn't really do much. Like they showed up, they did a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Gale and Dewey had their little like back and forth, kind of talking about their past and stuff like that. And then obviously Dewey dies. That was kind of something that I kind of expected to happen. Yeah, like yeah, they say like this type of movie, there's definitely big stakes with it. Like anybody can die. I didn't think Sydney was going to die. I think Sydney 100% had plot armor behind her. Gale dying I could have seen. Dewey dying I 100% expected, just because like he's the one, like, oh, he always survives. He always somehow survives. He comes out with a lot of bruises and cuts and bodily harm, but he somehow always just comes back. And in this one, he gets stabbed, I think, in the front and the knife pulled up, and he gets stabbed in the back. So yeah, 100%. I'm sure for longtime Scream fans, I'm sure Dewey's death was something pretty saddening to see, especially Gale reacting to it. But to me, like I said, I guess I don't really have that big of a connection to these Scream movies. I did say movies, by the way. But yeah, me seeing that, I was just like, oh yeah, yeah, I could have seen that coming. Um, but yes, let's talk about the reveal of the killers. So towards the end of the movie, we are back at the same house from the first movie, and everybody's in the living room. They're arguing like, you were by yourself. You were with this person. Why is there blood on your hands? Like you're the killer. No, you're the killer. No, you're the killer. No, fuck you. I'm not the killer. And then all of a sudden, Pyro Girl just pulls up a gun and shoots the girl in the head, which honestly, out of nowhere, I didn't see it coming. But as soon as she was revealed to be a killer, and then later on, Huey is revealed to be a killer. The Billy's daughter's boyfriend or whatever is revealed to be a killer. As soon as it was established that these two were the two killers, I thought to myself, okay, so we have ourselves our two killers. If this is not a good explanation behind why they are killers, I am not sold on this movie. So I was waiting for the big monologue. They get them in the kitchen. They're talking about their whole like scheme and stuff like that, and how this all came to be. And the reason why they started committing these murders, the reason why they lured Sydney back to Woodsboro, is because they weren't fans of the last Stab movie, which was established by a lot of backstory stuff talking about how Stab 8 was like terrible for the franchise. There was that Dead Meat cameo talking about how it was terrible and lazy and stuff like that. And apparently these two met on like a message board somewhere on like Reddit or something like that, like talking about how terrible the movie was. And their whole plan was basically, let's kill a bunch of people so that way Hollywood will have a good idea of something in real life that they can take and try and make another movie out of. That is their entire thing. It's what did they call it? Toxic fandom. Killer toxic fandom. That's basically what their motivation was in this movie. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, that is just so dumb. And not even dumb in like a good way. It was just like, which I mean, now that I think about it now, it is sort of a little clever because honestly, toxic fandom is kind of a big thing, recently with a lot of movies, Star Wars, DC Comics movies, Marvel movies. There's a lot of pleasant fandom in that, but there's also a lot of toxic fandom, and maybe with something like this whole Stab series, like sometimes toxic stuff can go a little bit haywire, and it was just the reveal of that, like their whole reasoning behind it just being that they wanted Hollywood to be motivated to make a better movie. They killed these people, they lured all these people back to Woodsboro just so Hollywood would have better content to make a movie out of. That just was not good enough for me. Um, I will say it's a little bit of a better reveal rather than maybe like Scream 3. Like Scream 3's reveal was just awful, and I'll get more into that here in a second, but yeah, this killer reveal was just kind of meh. But, in the end, Billy's daughter ends up stabbing her, I guess now ex-boyfriend, several times. I think I counted like 23 times, over and over and over again, after Billy gives her like a nod of approval in a mirror reflection to go get a knife and stab it. Like, I don't know where the hell we got the idea to have Billy be this like rah rah cheering ghost beyond the grave like reflection in her mind thing, but it just felt kind of weird seeing it like that. Um, and yeah, she ends up killing him, and I think Pyro Girl ends up getting shot by I think either Gale or Sydney. Like I said, Gale and Sydney just don't really do much. Like Sydney shows up, she tells like the new girl, Billy's daughter, like, "Hey, I've been through this. Like, we got to keep an eye on you." And then Gale and Sydney follow her to the main house. They get involved in the battle. They nearly get killed, but they survive. And that's pretty much it. Like that's pretty much all they do in this movie. Like for the most part, it's really just focused on Billy's daughter, and for some people that might be cool, but if you saw the trailers, there was a lot of focus being put on like these legacy characters coming back and interacting with these new characters, and to only have them in it doing these small amounts of stuff, I'm sure for a lot of die-hard Scream fans that maybe just didn't really sit well with some people. And for a person even like me that obviously, like I've said before in this, not really that attached to the Scream movies, even seeing them come back and do very minimal stuff just wasn't really that fulfilling to me. And in the end, we have all the necessary people. We got Billy's daughter, her half sister, Sydney, and Gale, all in the freaking ambulance. I was about to say limos. The ambulances. Camera pans out. We get like one last like jump scare thing of like Ghostface up on screen, and then we go to the credits. I didn't stay behind, so if there was a post-credit scene, my apologies. Imagine the post-credit scene was like Stu watching this all go down in prison. I'm gonna be so pissed if I find out after I'm done recording this that there was a post-credit scene with Stu or something in it. But yeah, the biggest thing that I would say about this is like, if you cut this movie out, like there is, aside from like Dewey dying, there's not really much like big stuff that happened in this. There's not like really any big story development for like the wider world of Scream. Like aside from having Billy having a daughter, like, and Dewey dying, like, there's not really much else that really expands the world. I guess Sydney has kids now. Gale and Dewey were separated before. Now they're definitely separated by maybe 6 feet of dirt here in a couple weeks or something like that. But yeah, it was just like it didn't really feel like there was like this big weight on the story, you know, especially since Gale and Sydney weren't really in it, and then Dewey had his moment and he died, which obviously was Gale's fault because she was calling him, distracted him, stuff. I just wanted to point that out. Gale, you killed Dewey, um, but yeah, it just wasn't really something for me. But before we get done here, number one, leave your thoughts in the comments. What did you think of the movie? Before we get done here, I actually have the whole list of like Scream franchise stuff, and I thought it would be fun to go through and kind of rank where I see all this Scream franchise stuff. And I say Scream franchise, and that's important. I am including the Scream movies and the Scream TV show seasons. So here we go. We are going to go bottom of the barrel, bottom of the charts is going to be Scream 3. Need I say more? After that, we are going to go. Actually, I lied. Bottom of the barrel is actually going to be the TV series Scream Season 3 from 2019 because I haven't even watched that, and everything that I hear about that is that it's complete crap. So there we go. Bottom of the barrel for the Scream franchise for me. I guess by default, considering I've never seen it, but all the reviews and stuff that I've read for it say that it's not good. So bottom of the barrel is going to be Scream TV series season 3. So there we go. And then above that is going to be Scream 3. Need I say more? And then above that, we are going to have Scream 2, and then Scream 4, and then we're going to have Scream 1, and then to top it all off, we have Scream, the TV series, seasons 1 and 2. That's going to be at the same thing. I love the Scream TV series. Like, some people really hate it, some people like it, some people love it. I fall into the camp of loving it. I feel like Scream kind of works a lot better as like a TV series, honestly. Just because it gives you more time with the characters to develop and stuff like that. It gives you a little bit more time to sort of like feed out like who the killer is going to be, like aside from having like what was this movie, 2 hours long, having 2 hours to set up this whole whodunit murder mystery, and then having to do all these red herrings, do all these clues and stuff like that, and then have the reveal at the end, which with the TV series there was like, what was it, half an hour episodes or maybe an hour long episodes each week. Like, that's a lot more time for plot development, which is why I enjoyed it a hell of a lot, and was really bummed that they did the season 2 in 2016, and then they did that like made for TV like big movie special of it, and then they rebooted it into that crappy season 3 that everyone doesn't like. Now, you're probably wondering, where does this movie rank? Where does Scream 5 rank? Honestly, I would put it probably in between Scream 3 and I would probably put it like below Scream 3. I'm going to put it below Scream 3. So what would that be? Scream the TV series season 3, Scream 5, Scream 3, uh, Scream 2, Scream 1, and then Scream the seasons 1 and 2 of the TV series. That's my ranking. So I don't know if I'm missing something there. Oh, Scream 4! Duh! Where the hell does Scream 4 rank? Scream 4 is definitely up there too. Scream 4, I would put it like ranked number 4. There you go. So yeah, Scream 4 would be ranked at number 4. So that's my entire ranking. Like I said, love the Scream TV series. Did not love this, really. For those of you that did, congrats, I guess. I don't hate you guys for it. Like, hey, obviously you guys are more in tune with the franchise than I am, but just not really much hit for me. And I say this in the nicest of ways, but please, for the love of God, Do not make another Scream movie. We do not need another Scream movie. Now, if they want to do another season of the TV series, I'm all for that. As long as we don't go back to the 2019 one. Let's go back to the 2016 one, because at the end of that TV movie special thing, there is still one more killer out there. There is still one Brandon James wannabe killer out there in Lakewood, and I really want to find out who that was. I really hope they somehow find a way to continue that series, because that was very interesting. Scream 5 from 2022, not really interesting for me. Sorry to say.